Out of the 7 paths in this game, Harmony is the only one we haven't gotten a featured 5-star unit for yet. For Destruction we had Blade, Jingliu, and Lunai Danheng. For Erudition we had Jingyuan and Argenti. For Nihility we had Silver Wolf and Kafka. For Hunt we got Topaz and Sela. For Preservation we had Fu Xuan. And for Abundance we had Luo Cha and Huahua. You can make an argument that Huahua is more of a Harmony unit than Abundance in light of her ultimate having nothing to do with heals, but in terms of actual designation we haven't received a dedicated buffer yet, so it's about time we got one, and Ruan Mei is here to grace us with their presence. Harmony, despite being one of the lesser developed paths, is a very stacked category. Tingyun may very well be the single most powerful 4-star unit in the entire game. Bronya is one of the best 5-star characters in the game for her staggering buffing capability, and we have a few solid ones in the form of Asta and Hanya, so needless to say, Ruan Mei better bring a lot of good stuff with her if she wants to stand out. Fortunately for us, though, she got the memo. Today we'll be looking through and discussing the abilities, gameplay, and design of arguably one of the best supports in the game and potentially one of the best units in Honkai Star Rail. Being turn-based, it's easy for characters to overlap with each other in contrast to a title with more freeform content like Genshin. For example, Genshin has many units that on paper have the same basic functions, such as Beidou and Xingqiu both dealing follow-up damage based on their element, but since Hydro and Electro have unique properties and functions, they're allowed to exist in their own spaces. Same goes for a shielder like Toma versus a shielder like Baizhu. Both give shields, but Pyro and Dendro have their own things to play around with. Such possibility for mutual exclusivity doesn't really exist in Star Rail, with really the only current property associated with the character's element being if they can break toughness gauges on enemies. There aren't any elemental reactions or stuff like that, so a fire attribute character, especially a fire support, might have to compete with units that aren't fire attribute because turn-based games like Star Rail are much more simplistic in nature. So far though, they've done a pretty good job differentiating one support from another. For instance, Asta's main gimmick is greatly enhancing her team's speed. Bronya's job is turn advancement, instantly refreshing a teammate to take action next in line no matter how slow they are. Tingyun's main job is battery, regenerating energy for her carry unit. So they all have their own little niches in which they can fit into. What is Ruan Mei's niche? Ironically, she has none, unless you count coverage as a niche. She's an all-purpose general support character, the first of her kind. Every Harmony character has damage amplification of some sort, but they're distinguished by the unique mechanic, whereas Ruan Mei is distinguished by her lack thereof. Her skill grants herself a buff lasting 3 seconds, during which her entire team gains total damage and increased weakness break efficiency. Total damage is kind of insane, not gonna lie. Bronya and Tingyun both have total damage bonuses as well, but they only apply to one person and for a shorter duration. Ruan Mei has a 3-turn buff, making her SP efficient since that means you only need to use her skill once every 3 turns, and it affects the entire party. On the subject of SP efficiency, her technique allows her to start battles automatically activating her skill, which basically lets you consume a technique point for a skill point. Realistically though, since most teams in Star Rail feature 3 supports and 1 carry, that extra damage is somewhat wasted on your supports. Unless of course you're running a Kafka team for example, where there's her, Sampo, and Luca, in which case, Ruan Mei's damage boost gets more mileage on that team, it's just that you have to trade your healer for that. But I digress. To account for this though, they give you a ton of extra break efficiency, which definitely can be weaponized by your supports. 50% break efficiency effectively cuts the toughness gauges of every enemy by 1/3, letting you break and debuff enemies that much faster. In addition, one of her traces grants more damage bonus based on a break effect, so she can give even more damage, enough to where I believe it's the same amount as Bronya's combat redeployment but applied to the entire team, albeit you do need huge amounts of break effect. At a surface glance, Ruan Mei feels like the Farina of Star Rail, a total unconditional damage bonus to her entire team, and that's just her skill. Her ultimate is interesting. For the next 2 turns, she gives all res pen to her entire party and imbues her attacks with a special debuff that basically extends the duration of their weakness break based on her break effect and can deal extra break damage equal to her ice break damage. A lot of usage of the word breaking, point being, Ruan Mei scales off break effect. That's pretty much all you have to care about. All res pen effectively means you ignore 25% of the target's resistances at rank 10 regardless of the element. In other words, you can interpret this as another unconditional damage bonus that compounds on top of Ruan Mei's skill. This includes damage over time inflicted from weakness break too, something that normally can only get stronger from break effect. What has me more curious though is the break debuff. Alongside the damage over time they suffer, the most important thing about weakness break is that it pushes their turn back. When you break an enemy's toughness gauge, it delays their action by 25%, which can buy you extra turns to do more stuff before they get a chance to act. Ruan Mei extends that delayed action even further, letting you potentially get more turns. This is a very good ultimate that when timed correctly can give your team a huge advantage in fights. Not just the res pen, but that extra delay you can put on them. The reason I said she's defined by her lack of a niche, despite very clearly appearing to have one, is that while in a similar fashion to Asta, Tingyun, and Bronya, who all have specific mechanics, Ruan Mei has a unique mechanic through her res pen and break extension. Her total coverage is what makes her a general buffer. For example, Tingyun is all about super buffing one person. Her skill and ultimate are both single target. They're intended to be funneled into one person and power them up. Ruan Mei powers up everyone, increasing everyone's damage. The rest pen is also in the end just damage. Her break extension is unique though, but it's not on demand in terms of increasing tempo and DPS the same way Bronya's skill lets a party member cut the line. Having said that, her buffs are excellent. Unconditional total damage with good uptime and SP efficiency that gets even better the more you stack break effect on her. And then, stacking break effect also increases how long you extend weakness break on enemies and her damage whenever using her ultimate plus 25% ignore resistances. It may only last for 2 turns, but I mean hell, those are good buffs that work for just about any party and good debuffs that work for just about any enemy. And we haven't even gone over her talent yet. So let's talk about that quickly. Her talent is stupid, in a good way. Ruan Mei gives bonus speed to the other 3 party members by existing. Literally, just by being in the party, she increases the speed of everyone else. Speed is one of the most valuable stats in the game because more speed equals more turns. More turns means more SP generation through attacking, more attacking means more energy regeneration for your ultimate, and of course attacking means more damage, which means more DPS. Plus, there are several planetary sets that give special bonuses if you go above certain speed thresholds, key of which being the Glamour set, where if you have 135 or 160 speed you get more damage. Ruan Mei can help units meet that threshold more easily. In addition, Sela's personal light cone gives her more attack and skill damage as well as crit damage for her ultimate for every 10 speed above 100 she has, so Ruan Mei can boost the effectiveness of light cones too. There is a lot of benefit that comes to speed, and that's only half her talent. For the other half, when allies break enemy toughness, Ruan Mei deals follow-up break damage equal to hers, so she can break toughness meters extremely quickly. This means you can effectively build any relic set on her so long as you have enough break effect. Also, while I briefly mentioned her technique when talking about her skill, there's one other part I haven't gone over yet, which I'll talk about here. While in Simulated Universe, if she uses her technique, enemies will always be weakness struck even if they're not vulnerable to the attacker's element. Kind of like how Silverwolf's technique always breaks gauges even if enemies don't have quantum weakness. Additionally, that first strike gets even stronger for every blessing you have, so you can potentially start every fight in Simuni with all enemies broken, which is a huge time saver. It's interesting, she has a unique mechanic revolving around breaking gauges quickly and amplifying the effects of them, but she also has a lot of generic all-purpose buffs like more damage and speed, and she gives a ton of damn good buffs. I also find her traces to be pretty good too. Bonus break effect for all allies just by existing, and at the start of her turn she gets 5 energy. Ruan Mei has to be arguably the easiest character to use in the game. Just press buttons and you get stuff, while also getting more stuff just by having her on field. The same properties apply to her Eidolons. For E1, she gives 20% defense penetration to her entire team when using her ultimate, in tandem with the 25% rest penetration they already get. For E2, just by being alive, she gives 40% bonus attack to allies that are attacking broken enemies. She's basically a breaking and buffing bot, very straightforward. I think she might be the first hybrid between Harmony and Nihility. Huohuo is a mix between Harmony and Abundance, Fuxuan is a mix between Harmony and Preservation, Topaz is a mix between Harmony and Hunt, or Nihility and Hunt depending on how you look at it, and now we have Ruan Mei, who's a mix between Harmony and Nihility. I guess we're just going down the list. Alrighty, so first things first, I don't think it takes a genius to know that Ruan Mei is extremely valuable. She gives a massive DPS boost to her entire team and helps them do their job more easily in a number of different ways. Because she gives total damage boost and rest penetration, Ruan Mei can buff anyone and everyone in the game. She can increase attack scalars like Sela, she can increase HP scalars like Blade. She can boost the damage of summon type characters like Topaz and Jingyuan. She can boost dot dealers like Kafka. She can boost everyone, which gives her a ton of different use cases, ergo very convincingly solving the question everyone has. Is she worth pulling for? Yes. 100% yes. It doesn't matter what team you have. Ruan Mei can and will make it better in some capacity. I mean, first of all, before you start your kid, you should understand she's a muscle. I mean, look at her. She is gorgeous and a member of the Genius Society, so she's smart and probably has clout, waifu over meta, as the saying goes. But on a more serious note, at the current moment, Ruan Mei is broken. She basically does everything. The only thing she doesn't do is heal. But if she could heal, she would officially be the most party slot efficient unit in the game. That doesn't necessarily mean she power creeps all of the support units. She's ultimately a general support. So the other supports can be more efficient in certain ways. Bronya's Trend Advance, Tingyu's Battery, those still retain their respective value. So if anything, I think Ruan Mei is a good companion support to have. A standard team in Star Rail usually entails a main damage dealer, 2 offensive supports, and 1 defensive support, either a healer or a tank. Many teams at the moment have a main support and a flex slot. For example, a hypothetical Sela team would be herself, Silverwolf, Bronya, and Fuxuan. Silverwolf is a good support for Sela, but you can theoretically exchange her for Tingyun for more ultimates or stuff like that. With Ruan Mei, I can definitely picture her rounding out most teams as an optimal second slot. What she lacks in specific quality of life stuff like extra turns, she makes up for by giving a ton of general stats, speed, damage, penetration, and whatnot, which you can get even more of with their beast of a light cone. On top of giving tons of break effect, just by using your ultimate you give a 3-turn total damage buff to the entire party. You essentially take Ruan Mei's skill and put it on a light cone. Not only that, if the wearer has more than 150% break effect, you recover a skill point, giving it the same kind of SP regeneration as Bronya's light cone. Finally, at the start of each wave of enemies, the wearer's entire party recovers 10 energy. That's crazy. Low-key, even if all it gave was total damage and break effect, it would still be a busted light cone. But the fact that it gives more stuff is just phenomenal. This is easily one of, if not the best Harmony light cone in the game right now. So, if you slap this on Ruan Mei, she can pretty much double the damage of anyone when you add up her skill damage buff with the added bonuses from her trace, and then the rest pen, and then this. She literally does everything you would want from a Harmony character. So should you pull for her? Yes, you should. I don't care who you are or who you have, even if you have every unit in the game. Ruan Mei is a very good unit for any team. That alone should be reason to pull for her. Anyways, that's about it. Fantastic unit, right up there with Fushuan when it comes to pull value in my opinion. I definitely plan to get her myself because I can see her coming in clutch in many situations. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on Ruan Mei, if you think she's as good as she looks or if she's overrated. Aside from that, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Twitter at Vars, join my Discord server, and check out my other Honkai Star Rail character first impressions videos if you haven't yet. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.